Hi everybody, Brian McNichols here from TouringPlans.com once again with another map. As you can see, I am talking about the Magic Kingdom today at Walt Disney World. If you have seen these videos before, you know what's coming. If not, I'm just going to talk about how crowds move around the Magic Kingdom and how knowing that can help you avoid those crowds, obviously. I have done other videos like this in the past. If you're watching this, you're watching it on YouTube. And while you're here, make sure you check out all of our other great YouTube videos. I do other in a series like this where I talk about Animal Kingdom and Epcot. Just did one on Universal Studios Florida a few weeks ago. Browse around on our YouTube video, and while you're, and if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe, share it, leave comments, like them, all that great stuff. It really, really helps us out. And if you're the type of person that is interested in things like this, make sure you check out TouringPlans.com. We have lots of plans, including some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about today we got from all of our statisticians and great computer software that does all of this stuff. Okay, enough. I know I've talked too long. These videos always go too long because I am not good at shutting up. So this is going to be no different, and Magic Kingdom is complicated. So sorry in advance for the long run time on this one. So let's orient you to the Magic Kingdom. Obviously down here, the entrance can go straight up Main Street, USA, into the hub, Tomorrowland over here with Space Mountain, up into Storybook Circus, the new Fantasyland with Grumpy standing in there for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, because this map apparently when this one was created, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train wasn't there yet, but it's right there. The rest of Fantasyland out into Frontierland, Big Thunder, Splash Mountain, Adventureland, Pirates of the Caribbean down here. Jungle Cruise is this big guy down here. So, what are the hot spots? Every park has spots where people will go to first, whether they know what they're doing or not, and most of them don't. That's why knowing what you're doing is such a huge advantage here. So, the hot spots here, the number one hotspot right now is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. For whatever reason, everybody goes there. And there's a whole other video on the Magic Kingdom entry process that I will link below this, as well as a different one on the Magic Kingdom security procedures, both of which have changed this year. But in short, now when you come into the park, and we recommend you getting there before the park opens by 45 minutes to an hour, because they actually are letting people in now all the way up to the hub. So people just line up like crazy and then are walked straight over to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and there are a ton of people. So if you're in the back of that crowd, even though you were there before the park opened, you could still wait a half hour, 45 minutes to get on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It's really kind of flabbergasting that everybody goes there. But I'll get to the Fast Passes in a minute, but that is a really good reason why that is our number one Fast Pass recommendation. So the other hotspots are still kind of the old ones that you would expect. Space Mountain out here, Big Thunder and Splash. Of course, the park was designed so that people are drawn to the castle. They come straight up Main Street, straight through the castle and into Fantasyland. So Fantasyland in general still gets pretty busy pretty early. If you have several days in the Magic Kingdom, Adventureland is actually a pretty decent one to go to first. Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean down there. Not that many people go that way first thing in the morning. And now that I mention how many days you're going to be at the Magic Kingdom, it's a good time to bring up that actually matters a lot to what you're doing with the Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is not the biggest park in area. That's Epcot and Animal Kingdom are much, much bigger, although a lot of Animal Kingdoms is the safari ride, which takes up a lot of space. But regardless, Magic Kingdom is smaller in area, but has the most attractions by miles. They have something like 40 attractions that you can see. It's almost impossible to do it all in one day. I'm gonna go over some of the differences. Now, it also kind of depends who you're with. If you're with small children, obviously you're going to want to see pretty much all of Fantasyland into Storybook Circus, that kind of stuff. You maybe aren't interested if they're under 40 inches, especially. They're not going to be able to do Big Thunder or Splash or Space Mountain. So that takes a lot off of your plate already. That actually kind of makes it a lot easier. If you are adults or teenagers and not interested in a lot of the Fantasyland stuff, that also makes it easier. I'll go through some of the differences in plans as we go, but it's hard to do a comprehensive plan of Magic Kingdom because it's it's too much. If it's a relatively normal day where the park is open, say like 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., and you're willing to be there from like 9 to noon, then go back and relax for a while and come back from 3 to 9 or 10 at night, you can easily knock out half of the park. So 2 days is a perfectly reasonable thing to do, as long as you know what you're doing and are using a touring plan, of course. Was that wink too creepy? Okay, so fast passes. We got to get our fast passes, right? As I said, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, #1. Try to get that one pretty much anytime you can. We recommend it actually getting it fairly early, like 9:30 in the morning to 10:30. The window is an hour for a Fast Pass Plus. We don't normally recommend getting fast passes that early, but like I said, tons of people just go straight there. So the nice thing with having a 9 a.m. fast pass is that you can then go to one or two other things in that area, then hit it. The lines still aren't crazy. You'll get in and out of there real quick, and then you don't have to worry about it again. But if you can't get that, just get it for a time. It's better, trust me, than having to wait because that line moves kind of slow and can get really long, longer than some of the other stuff that you might have to wait for later. Second fast pass we recommend, Peter Pan's Flight. If you don't have small kids, I know you're thinking, oh, I don't need to go on Peter Pan's Flight. I would still recommend it. It's one of the charmingly cheesy rides that Disney fans like me love about Walt Disney World. It is one of the originals to the park, 1971. It uses a lot of old school techniques. It's very charming attraction. Now, of course, if you don't have kids, or even if you do, you're not going to want to wait in that line. That line for Peter Pan's Flight can be easily an hour, hour and 15, 2 hours on a busy day, and it can jump to 45 minutes within a half hour of the park opening. I suggest you ride it, and I also suggest you get a fast pass. We recommend right about 10 a.m., 10:30 mid-morning to get that fast pass. Third one is really dependent on what you want to do. If you have small kids, especially if they are fans of princesses, we recommend Enchanted Tales with Belle as the third one. Not that that attraction gets crazy long lines. It can get long and annoying to wait for it. It's a good use of fast pass. It really jumps you pretty far up into the queue. And the third fast pass also depends on where you get it. If you're getting Enchanted Tales with Belle, also aim for mid-morning, maybe 11 a.m. we'll say, if you get those two for 9 and 10. You want them to be close to those because then you can knock out all of Fantasyland in one shot. If you aren't interested in that one, say you're a roller coaster fan, then you go for either Space, Splash, or Big Thunder. Space, Big Thunder, Splash, actually, in that order, would be the better ones to go to. If you are going for Space and one of these two over here, you can space them out a little bit, obviously. They're on either side of the park. If you're going for Splash and Big Thunder, try to get those touching each other. Then you do one at the tail end of the Fast Pass window and then the other one, so you can do them back to back. Makes things a lot easier. All right, so the plan. Like I said, it depends a lot on how many days you're going to do it. If you're doing it over multiple days, I'd almost suggest splitting the park and doing maybe like Fantasyland, Tomorrowland one day, Adventureland, Frontierland another day, and you'll still have time to do highlights. Say you really, really like Space Mountain, you can do it both days that you're there. Grab a fast pass would probably be the easiest thing both days, and then do the rest of Tomorrowland, rest of Fantasyland, and then the next day come in, do these two, and then just jump over for a fast pass, things like that. It definitely relaxes the plan quite a bit. If you have kids, you might end up wanting to do Fantasyland both days. It's a lot of times where I end up. Let's say you're only going to be there for one day. What do? Let's do the kids plan first. So you're going to come up, you have your fast passes for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Peter Pan's Flight, and Enchanted Tales with Belle. Go to Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh first. This is another sneaky one where you think, oh, it's not that popular an attraction, and then at 2 p.m. you walk by and the line is 90 minutes. You're like, oh, geez, really? So just get that one on your way by, then head up here into Storybook Circus. First thing in the morning, not that many people are going to be all the way up here in the corner of the park at Storybook Circus. You can get through the Barnstormer, through Dumbo in no time flat, and then get out of there. Now, if you're doing the park in one day, you're not going to have a ton of time to stop and enjoy the sights and what things look at, like playing at the splash pad up here. That stuff is probably going to be out for you. So you knock that out, come back through this way. The Little Mermaid attraction that I have suddenly forgotten the proper name for, but you know what I'm talking, Under the Sea. Got it. Ride the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train using your Fast Pass. If you want to meet some princesses, do that. Come over here, use your Peter Pan Fast Pass. It's a Small World. PhilharMagic, that one you can probably wait till later in the day if you need to, but if you're right there and you're ahead of schedule, get on that. Enchanted Tales with Belle Fast Pass, and then you're over into this section. Haunted Mansion, if you're doing these mountains, these now are going to be a little bit of a wait. Check on those wait times. If they're not that bad, go ahead, jump in line. If they are, maybe cut down here, do Jungle Cruise, do Pirates, Magic Carpets of Aladdin are there. They're never that bad. Tiki Room. And then actually that works out well because then either right after dinner or before dinner, depending on the timing here, before dinner would be really hard to do. So probably after dinner, you come in, you do, if you want to do Space Mountain, you do that. There's Astro Orbiter, Buzz Lightyear, Astro Blasters are right there. No, Astro Blasters is the Disneyland name. The Buzz Lightyear Space Spin, what is that called? Why am I terrible with names today? God, I gotta start looking stuff up before I do these. And then you can head back over, and by that time it should be getting later. These two won't be as bad. Splash, I don't know if you really want to get wet at night, but it's Florida. If you're there in the summer, it's still gonna be 95 degrees at night. And that's, you know, the basics of the plan. It's kind of the highlights plan. You're not gonna, like I said, you're not really gonna be able to enjoy your surroundings. You might have to skip some of the smaller things like Country Bears, you know, which I skip every time. Don't tell the hardcore Disney fans. Hopefully none of them are watching this. I don't really like Country Bears that much. Now let's say you have teens or just adults. You're not interested in all the kiddie rides. You don't want to go on Dumbo. You don't need to go on the Barnstormer. So what do? So let's say here you get the Fast Pass for the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you get the Fast Pass for Peter Pan's Flight, and you get the Fast Pass for Big Thunder Mountain. So then you come in, you go straight over to Space Mountain. You can do Buzz Lightyear's, that stuff if you want. I'd probably recommend saving that till later. So then you come up, cut through Fantasyland, you can do Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, assuming your Fast Pass is ready for that one, Peter Pan's Flight. It's a Small World's another good one, even as adults to go through, you know, once or so. Then over to Haunted Mansion, now you're over in Frontierland, do Splash Mountain first, so early in the morning. Hopefully your Big Thunder Fast Pass is active. You do that, then you cut down here into Adventureland. And then, you know, you're basically done. Then you can kind of do cleanup duty, do Buzz Lightyear if you want. You know, come up, do Under the Sea, Journey of Little Mermaid, that kind of stuff, after you do all the major attractions. If you can move a little bit quicker or want to, you know, cross the park, it definitely helps. If you can do, you know, Space, then cut all the way over here and then come back to Fantasyland, stuff like that. You know, all that helps, but it's a lot of walking, especially if it's hot. Not everybody wants to do that, especially if they have kids with them. And I think that's kind of it. I know I really glossed over a lot of stuff here, and I know it wasn't as definitive as some of the other parks are, but Magic Kingdom's tough. So here's what I'll do. If there's any specific plans you want to see, any days you want me to plan out, say, okay, I have 2 days there, I have a day and a half there, you know, how do I get around there? I will absolutely do that for you. But knowing exactly where the hot things are and where to go to them, it really helps you formulate that plan and move around without too much backtracking or too much waiting in line, hopefully. To avoid more waiting in line, make sure you check out Touring Plans. And if you like this video, check out our other ones and maybe share this one with some of your friends. Thanks for watching. Be excellent to each other.